Imagine our ancestors, spear in hand, bringing down a woolly mammoth. But what if I told you that image is largely a myth? What if the very diet we attribute to our powerful meat-eating ancestors was in fact incredibly sparse in meat? The evidence is shocking, overturning decades of assumptions, and the truth about ancient human diets will radically shift your perspective on everything from our health to our very nature. For generations, the dominant narrative has painted early humans as formidable big game hunters. Think cave paintings of bison and deer, Hollywood depictions of epic hunts. This powerful image has shaped our understanding of human evolution and even modern dietary fads. But this deeply ingrained picture of ancient humanity as primarily carnivores is by all accounts fundamentally flawed. The reality, as revealed by modern archaeology, tells a far more nuanced and plant-heavy story. One of the most compelling lines of evidence comes from stable isotope analysis. Scientists can analyze the carbon and nitrogen ratios preserved in ancient human bones and teeth. These ratios act like a chemical fingerprint of what someone ate throughout their life. Higher nitrogen typically indicates animal protein, while specific carbon isotopes point to plant consumption. What these analyses consistently show, across numerous prehistoric sites and diverse environments, is a dietary signature that leans heavily towards plant matter, not massive quantities of meat. Our ancestors were consuming a vast array of plant foods, enough to leave a clear, undeniable imprint in their very skeletons. Complementing this are the insights from dental wear patterns. A pure carnivore's teeth display sharp tearing surfaces. Ancient human teeth, however, show significant abrasion, consistent with processing tough, fibrous plant materials. The grit and silica present in wild roots, tubers, and seeds would have caused a distinct wear pattern on molars, very different from the smoother wear caused by softer animal flesh. These ancient grins tell a story of relentless chewing, grinding down vegetation, not just tearing sinew. And then there's the gross, but undeniably informative, evidence from coprolites, fossilized human feces. When painstakingly analyzed, these preserved remains reveal a treasure trove of undigested plant fibers, seeds, pollen, and even insect exoskeletons. While meat residues are sometimes present, the sheer volume and variety of plant matter found in these ancient excretions paint a vivid picture of diets dominated by what could be gathered. So, why have we been so wrong for so long? Perhaps it's the romance of the hunt, the allure of strength and conquest. But let's be realistic about ancient hunting's immense energetic costs. Imagine tracking a herd for days, the intense physical exertion required for a chase, the constant risk of injury from a panicked animal or a rival predator, all for a meal that might not even materialize. The failure rates of ancient hunting were incredibly high. Most hunts likely ended empty-handed, and even successful ones required monumental effort for a feast that often spoiled quickly without advanced preservation. Contrast that with the relative reliability and caloric returns of foraging. Nuts, berries, tubers, seeds, wild grains, these were often abundant, stationary, and far less dangerous to acquire. A good foraging spot could yield consistent, high-calorie sustenance with a fraction of the risk and physical output of a mammoth hunt. This isn't to say our ancestors never ate meat. Of course they did. But it was likely a far more opportunistic and varied affair than the heroic image we hold. Think small game, rabbits, birds, lizards, even insects, which are incredibly protein-rich and easy to catch. Scavenging, too, would have been paramount. Finding a carcass left by a larger predator and quickly extracting nutrient-dense marrow from bones would have been a safer, more reliable way to get animal fats and proteins than confronting a living, breathing megafauna. If plants were so abundant, so reliable, and meat so difficult, dangerous, and often sparse, why did our ancestors bother with hunting at all? Why invest so much into such a risky venture? The answer, as we'll uncover, isn't just about simple caloric intake or even protein. It's about a complex interplay of survival strategies, social dynamics, status within the group, and a surprising dietary secret that not only unlocks our understanding of ancient human behavior, but also offers a radical new perspective on our future health and capabilities. Now, let's peel back the layers and truly understand why our ancestors leaned so heavily on a plant-based diet. It wasn't a philosophical choice. It was a matter of brutal, undeniable scarcity and the fundamental mechanics of survival. Imagine the ancient world. No grocery stores, no reliable refrigeration, just a vast, untamed landscape. While the image of the mighty hunter bringing down a mammoth is iconic, the reality was often far grittier. Hunting was dangerous, energy intensive, and incredibly unreliable. Success was never guaranteed, and when it did happen, the bounty was fleeting, often subject to spoilage or competition from other predators. Meat was a sporadic, high-risk calorie jackpot, not a daily staple. Seasonal changes, regional animal migrations, and sheer luck dictated its availability. In contrast, plants were, by and large, a more dependable food source. Yes, they had their own seasonal variations, but a wider diversity of edible plants meant there was almost always something available, even if it wasn't the most delicious option. But critically, these plant foods offered something absolutely essential for our evolving species. Complex carbohydrates. Think of them as slow-release fuel, providing sustained energy for hunting, gathering, fleeing predators, and, crucially, for powering an increasingly large and complex brain. Beyond energy, plants delivered vital fiber, promoting healthy digestion, and a rich spectrum of micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals that are the bedrock of a robust immune system and proper bodily function. These were the crucial building blocks, often harder to come by consistently from a purely carnivorous diet. But here's where the story truly takes a revolutionary turn: fire and the mastery of cooking. Before cooking, many plant foods were either indigestible, toxic, or so fibrous they offered minimal nutritional return for the massive effort required to chew and digest them. Imagine trying to get enough calories from raw tubers or tough greens. It's a monumental task. Cooking changed everything. It was the ultimate food processor, a biochemical marvel. Heat broke down tough cell walls, releasing previously locked-away nutrients and making them bioavailable, essentially, making it easier for our bodies to extract calories and vital compounds. Cooking neutralized natural toxins in many plants, expanding our edible repertoire significantly. It pre-digested food outside the body, meaning our digestive systems didn't have to work as hard, freeing up precious metabolic energy for other tasks, like thinking, running, and growing. This freed-up energy was arguably a key factor in the rapid expansion of the human brain. The consistent high-calorie yield from cooked plant foods cemented their central role in the ancient human diet. They became the reliable backbone, the steady energy supply that allowed our ancestors to take risks with hunting, to explore, and to innovate. And what about protein, the nutrient so often associated exclusively with meat? Well, this is what we call the protein paradox. While meat is a concentrated source, our ancestors could absolutely obtain adequate protein from a diverse plant-based diet. Legumes, nuts, seeds, and even some leafy greens, when consumed in sufficient variety and quantity, provided all the essential amino acids needed for muscle repair and growth. It wasn't about more protein. It was about enough protein, alongside those critical complex carbohydrates and micronutrients. So, if plant foods, amplified by the magic of cooking, were the unsung heroes, the dependable powerhouses that fueled our incredible journey from bipedal apes to tool-making innovators, where does this pervasive idea that meat is the ultimate food, the pinnacle of human sustenance, actually come from? And how did this subtle, gradual shift in our dietary narrative eventually paved the way for humanity's single greatest invention, an innovation that would completely transform our relationship with food forever, shaping not just what we eat, but how we live, work, and build societies? We've seen that ancient human diets were far more varied and less meat-centric than commonly believed, bursting with plants and only opportunistic meat. But around 10,000 years ago, a seismic shift began that would profoundly reshape human civilization and our very relationship with food: the agricultural revolution. It wasn't just about seeds. It was about control. Humans weren't merely hunting animals. they were hurting them. Domestication transformed high-risk hunting into a predictable, consistent source of protein and fat. Goats, sheep, cattle, pigs, once wild, became partners, providing meat, milk, hides, and labor. This marked the true turning point for increased meat consumption. It became logistically easier, more reliable, and in many regions, a dietary staple rather than an occasional treat. This was the first significant step towards our modern relationship with meat, where abundance replaced scarcity. But predictability came at a cost, environmentally and for our health. For many early farming communities, their diet, while calorically sufficient, often lacked the diversity and micronutrient density of hunter-gatherer diets. We shifted from foraging 1,000 plant species to relying on a handful of domesticated crops like wheat, rice, or maize, a radical move towards monoculture. This introduced nutritional stress. Imagine going from a varied buffet to essentially the same few staple dishes every day. While it kept you alive, your body started feeling the pinch. Skeletal remains tell a stark tale. Pre-agricultural populations often boasted robust bones, excellent dental health, and fewer signs of chronic nutritional deficiencies. But with agriculture, we see a rise in certain diseases. Dental caries, cavities, became far more common as carbohydrate-rich diets took over. Iron deficiency anemia, linked to diets high in phytates inhibiting iron absorption, also increased. We became taller, yes, but less resilient, more prone to infections, and carried a higher disease load than our predecessors. We gained convenience, but traded away significant dietary robustness and resistance to illness. This trajectory intensified over millennia. Industrial agriculture perfected high-volume, low-cost meat production. Modern industrial farms churn out staggering amounts of beef, pork, and poultry, making meat cheaper and more accessible than at any point in human history. This constant availability, coupled with romanticized paleo marketing, perpetuates the misconception we debunk. We look at our modern, meat-heavy plates and project that image backwards onto ancient humans, forgetting the immense changes wrought by agriculture and industrialization. The real takeaway? The ancient human diet wasn't a rigid blueprint. It was a testament to incredible adaptability and opportunistic wisdom. It was highly varied, primarily plant-based and opportunistic meat consumption, incredibly responsive to local environments and seasonal changes. It challenges many rigid dietary fads today that overemphasize meat as our ancestral staple. Understanding this isn't just a history lesson, it's a profound lens to examine our modern health crises, the sustainability of our current food systems, and even the choices we need to make for our collective future. What if the very choices we make about food today, the convenience, the quantity, the composition, are still echoing those deep-seated survival strategies of our ancestors, but distorted through millennia of agricultural and industrial shifts? And how can we leverage this forgotten wisdom, this profound understanding of our true dietary past, to forge a healthier, more sustainable path forward for ourselves and for the planet? The answer, it seems, lies not in chasing a mythical past, but in understanding its dynamic, adaptable lessons for a truly well-fed future. So, as we've explored, the answer to why ancient humans ate so little meat isn't a simple one, but a complex tapestry woven from opportunity, effort, and evolutionary necessity. It forces us to re-examine the iconic images ingrained in our collective consciousness. The next time you picture our ancient ancestors, perhaps instead of a lone, spear-wielding hunter relentlessly tracking big game, you'll instead envision a more accurate tableau. Communities expertly foraging for tubers, cracking nuts, patiently simmering roots over a fire, or meticulously gathering seasonal berries. Their world, far from being a barren hunting ground, was a vast, edible landscape. The truth, illuminated by a wealth of archaeological evidence, isotopic analysis, and even the design of our own bodies, reveals a diet that was, for the vast majority of our evolutionary history, predominantly plant-powered. Meat, while certainly consumed, was a precious, calorie-dense bonus, an opportunistic gain pursued with immense effort and considerable risk, making every bite count. Every sinew, every muscle, every ounce of fat was made to count, a testament to its hard-won value. This mastery of plant-based foraging, combined with the strategic, occasional protein windfall, was not merely about survival. It was a masterpiece of adaptive strategy, a diverse and remarkably resilient dietary engine that fueled the very development of our complex brains and sustained our species' incredible journey across continents. This profound revelation that our ancestors were primarily skilled gatherers and opportunistic meat-eaters, not apex predators in constant pursuit of large game, profoundly challenges much of what we assume about human nature, our biological design, and even our innate nutritional requirements. It reshapes our understanding of where we truly came from, and perhaps where we ought to be headed in our modern quest for optimal health and sustainable living. It suggests a deep, ancient wisdom embedded in a plant-rich diet, a pattern of eating that allowed us to thrive and evolve. If this deep dive into the real history of human diets fascinated you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We constantly uncover the forgotten wisdom and scientific truths that reshape our understanding of ourselves. And for an even deeper exploration into how our evolutionary past profoundly impacts our modern health and unlocks powerful strategies for optimal living, check out our comprehensive ancestral wisdom, Reclaiming Your Primal Health course. It's designed to guide you through applying these ancient insights to your contemporary life. You'll find the link and all the details in the description below. Thank you for joining us on this illuminating journey through time.